Who's we?
So last week, Lavencas decided to respond to the allegations by making a public apology, and it's fucking awful, it's dog shit, but let's go over why. Right in the beginning, Lavencas claims that her general chat was pretty unmoderated, but that it had one golden rule, which reads, if anything/anyone is making you uncomfortable in any way, you should let me know ASAP. Well, it's kinda funny that she says that, because Sebi, her emote artist and a minor who was in the Toho channel, which was the channel where they shared the you know what, told Lavencas privately to stop the sexual talks as it was the thing that bothered him most in the world. Lavencas responded with a yeah sure, as you can see in the screenshot. But now pay attention. This interaction happened on September 2nd of this year. And that begs the question, was this the last time that these talks happened? In fact, if you've really been paying attention, you know that most of the screenshots that I showed in my video date to after this interaction. So when Lavencas says, yeah sure, it kinda reads more like I missed the part where that's my problem. But if I'm fair, I won't call this statement an outright lie. Because it was true, people could talk to her if they felt uncomfortable. She just forgot to mention that she wouldn't do shit about it. Isn't it really unfortunate when you're just making your very honest apology and you just forget to deliver some crucial pieces of information that would make it invalid? But I guess that's just another honest and innocent mistake that Lavencas does. In fact, let's add this one to the list. Yeah, right there between the allowing pedophiles in her server and contributing to an anti-Semitic culture. We are one paragraph in and you can already see what this apology is all about. Then some paragraphs later she claims that one of the reasons why she didn't stop these talks was because they were too disgusting. In fact, they were so disgusting that she would just close Discord and hope someone else would deal with it. This was quite obviously not the right way to proceed, but at the very least, she says that she was disgusted by this behavior. But was she though? Because on August 23rd, she sent this following message: Kenny emote is approved. She is talking about this emote called UO, I guess? I don't know, I'm not a degenerate. But either way, the interesting thing about this emote is that it references, you guessed it, lolly pornography. So, her server had a lolly pornography problem. She says that she was so disgusted by this, she didn't even want to deal with it. So, out of disgust, Lavencas decides to make an emote in honor of it. Maybe I don't even need to say anything because it's pretty much obvious, but does this look like someone who is disgusted by this behavior? I thought so. Not to mention the fact that as kids were being groomed in her server, she was out here making jokes about it. And never mind the fact that she claims to be disgusted by this, which is obviously false. The timing of these jokes is absolutely awful, because when someone says out of context, I like lolly porn, we all just say, hilarious, let's all laugh at the edge word. But now, imagine making this joke as lolly porn is being sent to actual children in her server. How the fuck is that acceptable? And she just labels these jokes as cringy. But making a mock out of this isn't cringy, it's extremely inappropriate to say the least. She hosts a server with actual pedophiles which present a threat to minors there. She willingly doesn't ban them, and just to add insult to injury, she mocks the whole situation. And this isn't the only time when stuff looks a lot worse when in context. And the prime example of that is when she puts the blame on her useless mod team, which just couldn't stop the talks in the Toho channel. But that begs the question, who had access to that channel to begin with? I don't want to waste your time, so I'm gonna answer right away. The people who had access to the Toho channel were Lavencas, her mods, her friends, and minors. No more than 20 people in a secret chat which, according to one of the miners there, was created, and I quote, literally only for Ozu and child porn. And here you can see screenshots of some of her mods asking for little girls to be sent. She makes it seem as if her mods are just incompetent. No, that's not the case. They aren't incompetent, they are predators. That's quite literally it. And I'm supposed to believe that she actually thought that predators were going to stop predatory behavior. Come on, make it make sense. Back to the apology, she later claims to have had no time for moderation, which is an interesting take, and I'd really like to argue with this one in her comment section. But wait, my account is banned! What could I have done that was worth the little time she had for moderation? Well, back in July I left comments saying Lavencas. Yes, that's quite literally it. I just went to her comment section and commented stuff like blah blah blah, this video made me realize that Lavencas is finished. These actions were worth a ban in her eyes. But grooming kids quite literally wasn't. And it's funny that she uses this point to counter my video, when quite literally both of us know that she banned me for troll comments. She banned me for troll comments, and she claims that she had no time for moderation. How? And what does she mean when she says that she didn't have time? Look how quick this is. Just right click and bam, gone forever. I literally don't get it. What stopped her from banning Loki right away? Was it fear of confrontation? Because there are many reasons to be scared of confrontation, but none of them quite align with calling your fans 14-year-old retards, annoying cunts, or whatever the fuck this is. I mean, she can ban them or try to make a point, but going the extra mile to insult them is very unlike someone who was too afraid of simple confrontation. And there's just one last thing I'd like to go over in the apology, which is the fact that she says there is nothing to be taken out of her Reddit responses. But hold on, there are some important takes there, namely the fact that she says that she banned Loki after the allegations because it made no sense to keep him. Okay, so she was banning Loki out of general principle, because even if he never acts again, there is no way that someone like Loki can be in that server. But wait a minute, if you have been reading the BD1P document as it has been updated, you'd know that Loki wasn't the only pedophile there. In fact, there was this one called Monday, who just seems to be the exact same or even worse than Loki. And from screenshots that you can see from literal minutes before the server was deleted, Monday is still there and banned. And if I remember correctly, Lavencas only banned Loki after I publicly pressed her with screenshots of Loki's creepy behavior. Don't get fooled, Lavencas did not ban Loki out of principle. If she had banned Loki out of principle, then everyone in this screenshot would have been banned. But the only one who was banned was the one who was putting her image at stake. And needless to say, if this was never made public, chances are none of them would have been banned. So, let's do a quick recap. Loki and Monday, for months on end, are showing pedophilic behavior in the Toho channel. The miners there are being affected by it, so they ask Lavencas to stop it. Lavencas is like,
I missed the part where that's my problem.
And the pedophilic behavior continues. Months later, Loki's case, and only Loki's case, is made public, so it's now affecting Lavencas. Loki is now a problem, and so Lavencas, out of goodwill, decides to ban him. But Lavencas' goodwill seems to be very selective, as she decides to not ban Monday. In fact, in her apology, she doesn't even mention Monday once. And the bottom line here really is just the fact that actions speak louder than words, and she can claim that she was disgusted by this behavior or that she was in any way against it. But her actions, from the very beginning all the way to a week ago, when she wrote this apology do not match up with those ideas at all. Everyone can lie on the internet, but if there's one thing that doesn't lie, are actions. And her actions seem to tell a very clear story. I rest my case. Before I get into how people responded to Lavencas' apology, one of the biggest points of criticism from my video is to how I use the terms child pornography and lolicon as if they were the same thing. And I do get that one of them is quite clearly way more awful than the other, but both of them fall under the term child pornography. In fact, in many countries, including Costa Rica, which is where Lavencas lives, the mere possession of lolicon hentai is punishable by law. And I do understand that for the sake of communication, a lot of people would rather separate the two terms. And the best I can say here is that it's up to you to decide, and I will make no further comment on the topic. Moving on, Lavencas' apology got a mixed response from the community, but as expected, most people decided to take Lavencas' side. Which is fair, because the apology makes it look a lot more tame than it actually is. And I'd like to highlight this specific comment, in which the guy says, thankfully, it went no further into the DMs. Well, this comment aged poorly, and in these screenshots we can see in full effect the most obvious consequence of letting pedophiles have all the freedom in the world. If only there was someone who could have prevented this. But I guess that if that person existed, they would be too disgusted to deal with it. On other instances, Monday proceeded to send pictures of himself in his underwear, as well as naked 15-year-olds he had on his phone. Censored versions were sent to me and redirected to the authorities. So, with some luck, Monday may be behind bars soon. And to the people that were eager to call me a clout chaser, considering how recent these talks are, think what would have happened had this not been made public. And I get that most people don't care about drama and just wanna watch and play video games, and there's nothing I can do about that, of course. But why are some of you so eager to protect her character? Bro, just a quick reminder that if it was you on that server and the adults were sending you unsolicited drawings of naked toddlers, she would have done nothing to protect you. And again, I'm not gonna stop you from watching her content, I literally can't. But just don't come at me saying that I did all of this for views, or that my video is a giant hit piece. You are pointlessly protecting someone who would have never protected you. And that's about all I had to say for today, so thank you Tenchi for providing me with screenshots that made this video possible, and also thanks to everyone who left nice comments in the last video. Hope I gave you a new insight on the situation, and happy holidays.